so now. Is it going to be a traditional explosive start? 16 wins in the first round, remember, Mike Tyson. But Biggs is a man with the game plan of the movement, and he certainly has that. He's a very smart boxer, very mobile. 16 stone 4 3/4. He weighed 16.7 against Lorenzo Boyd in Texas in July, which was a total mismatch, so we're not too worried what he weighed there. And Tyson is lightest in his 5 title defences at 15 stone 6. Still a big boy, isn't he? Whether he's 5'11 or 10'11, it doesn't matter. The punches count. If you're good enough, it doesn't matter if you're small or not. Marciano and Frazier prove that. So he's got the traditional so-called bad guy black trunks on again, Mike Tyson. And that huge body, foul-proof protector there around his base of his ribs anyway. So I think you've got a little look now at, there's a man at ringside, Muhammad Ali, who would say, well, that's the way that he's got a boxing fella, but Ali in fact predicted Tyson to win. So you wonder, Jim, all those years ago with head guards on in the amateurs when they just messed around for 2 rounds in Olympic trials, whether he's got the confidence enough, Biggs, even from that.
Well, he started the only way he should start. He's trying to get as much space between Tyson and himself as possible. Already has shown that he has the talent to frustrate Tyson, although Tyson hasn't really been throwing too many yet. Here he comes in now. But Tyson hasn't really been as wild as we've seen him in some of his previous first rounds.
Well, there's going to be delay here if he doesn't knock Biggs over, because that bodyproof protector's already come unbuttoned at the back there, Jim. You remember we had that with Tony Simpson against Marvin Hagler, which was a bit embarrassing. There it is. No, he's not going to. He's going to let it go to the end of the round. It's a shame to do that. Tyson's really firing, isn't he? He's got juiced up for this fight. And, you know, in many ways, you've got to judge him on championship form, but he's still very much an apprentice champion, Tyson. Lacks that experience, 31 fights, of course, but, well, that would be nothing in the old days. What an exciting fighter he is, Jim. Just the clips around the ears enough, isn't it?
Yeah, well, that was a good left hook to get through with, but Biggs has a good chin, but you can't give Tyson too many free goes.
So we're coming up now to the end of the first there with a countdown clock, and they've got to do something about that protector. As you well can see there, look, it's coming well apart there. Well, it's always a relief to hear the end of the first round, and a bit of an argument going on as well. So he's having a stand in the corner there, Biggs, while they're adjusting that belt. And you'll probably notice, I'm sure you will, that the referee, Tony Orlando, and the seconds are all wearing now obligatory rubber gloves to, they think, combat the AIDS problem in boxing if there's any bloodshed. And some of the commissions are now doing that, including the IBF. Very efficient corner, of course, with Biggs, with Dan Duva, George Benton. They've got a stable of champions. Out for the second. To repeat, scheduled for 15 and not 12. And neither of them have been 15 rounds, so who knows if it does go that distance, what sort of turn of events we'll have. The main thing is, of course, that Biggs doesn't have that dreadful scar reopened now that he had against David Bay. But it's a tribute, really, to him as a character that he's able to get back into the ring with all the troubles that he survived. And certainly the drugs and alcohol problem, rehabilitation clinic. And even in the fight, he had a broken collarbone and had to win the fight one-handed. It's going to be similar to the Tucker fight for Tyson, isn't it? Now he's got to find his way inside there, Jim. It looks as though he may catch up with him, but it's getting a bit difficult.
I think Tucker stood his ground a little bit more than Biggs has done so far, although it's very early. But Biggs is backing off all the time. He's actually making a good job of it. He's not overawed. His concentration has been good there. That's been a feeling in some of Biggs' earlier performances, lapses of concentration, but I don't think that will happen tonight.
Well, that was Biggs' game plan, wasn't it? He said if he can't knock me out, he can't outbox me, that's for sure.
Two hands, punch out. Let him go, let him go.
The referee insisting that they both punch out with 2 hands and not grab inside as they are there.
Step back, come on, let him go.
First championship fight at the heavyweights for this referee.
I tell you to break both of you, he's going to break.
And he's already made his mark. As a punch landed around the rear there, Jim, that'll cut down his speed a bit.
Well, Tyson has been throwing a bit more to the body than we're used to seeing. He did tell us that he's been practicing body punches, which is obviously a sensible thing to do when all your opponents are taller than you. But he's getting very close to Biggs already. I thought it would have maybe taken him a few rounds to get this close. But he's getting close already.
And he doesn't creep up on him. He sends the calling card and he comes straight in. Oh, good left hook there. He took that well, Biggs, but not for long. If he repeats that, he may run out of time in this round. And of course, if he goes down at the end of the round, the referee would continue counting. But there are no 3 knockdowns in effect for this fight. Coming up then for round 3. Now, can Tyson repeat that left hook? May even produce a right-hand uppercut. How do we know with this fellow? He's got the armory. Big odds-on favourite, of course, in this gambling city of Atlantic City along the famous boardwalk, where in fact the first $1 million game took place in this state, New Jersey. Dempsey and Carpentier. Jimmy, he showed that and it still landed, didn't it?
See, Tyson is showing the feint now. He's getting a little bit of rhythm about his work now. He's showing a feint before he throws any punches. He's making Biggs make his move first. It looks as though he solved them out already. He was getting very, very close in the second round, and now he's putting a little bit more thought into his work.
Well, there's something really that 22 out of 31 fights for Tyson didn't go beyond the second round. So the third round, actually. So we're getting some value for money here anyway, if Biggs can hang in there. Oh, he's digging those punches into the ribs as well. Now that's the last thing Biggs wants to do, is stand and trade. He tried that with David Bay and was then badly cut, and there's a cut around Biggs' left eye now. Is that a reopening midway through the third? That'll be sad for him because he doesn't deserve that. He's fighting a brave one. Anywhere around there, Jim, must be on or near the original cut, mustn't it, as we remember it?
Yeah, it looks the exact same place. Biggs is not having any success pulling his head out of trouble. I think he's going to have to try and block the punches rather than pull away from them. When he pulls away from the first punch, he has nowhere else to go, and when Tyson follows on, he's taking too many punches. He's going to have to try to block some of the punches. But as we said earlier, I think it's a lost cause.
See, now he can just afford to have a little bit of a hunter's patience about him now, Tyson. He's started to realise he needs a bit of technique. He's bitten the little bits of criticism that were aimed at him because 2 of his last 3 fights went to the full distance.
I don't think we give Tyson the full credit for the jab he has. Oh, good left hook.
No, yes, he opens him up a little bit with that, doesn't he? And that left hook's an absolute peach of a punch. And he has surprising hand speed for such a compact fellow, Jim.
Well, the punches are short and he moves in with them.
Well, now that corner's really got to work quickly on that. Ace Marotta is the Duvacant cut man. And as I say, they're the white gloves they're all wearing. And the doctor from New Jersey Commission is in there. He's allowed to get in at any time. And he will advise the referee. In fact, his word will count according to the rules meeting. There's no disputing that. And that was the previous cut that you saw there. And there they are working on what we presume is a reopening. Now, the doctor's also having a chat with the referee here at the end of the third, but he's leaving the ring. Jim, let's just get a look at that. There you see, he can throw them there and misses with that one. Not one of Tyson's better attacks, but that was a point that you could see the cut around the eye closely. And they're putting what looks like adrenaline cream in there. Into round 4. And let's face it now, it's all downhill battle surely for Tyrell Biggs. It was hard to gain strength in a fight when you're bleeding and trying to wipe the glove away against a man of this strength that comes at you with such will. He looks in a little bit better shape. I know he was lighter, Jim Tyson, than he did against Tony Tucker. Do you think that's made a bit of difference with his speed?
It's possible because he is looking very sharp. I was surprised how soon he got so close to Biggs. But poor Biggs, how do you prepare for a man like Tyson? No sparring partner even comes close to this machine in front of you. It's impossible to prepare for this kind of fight. I think even Biggs must be surprised at the strength and power Tyson has.
Well, Tyson employed Glenn McCrory from Durham to try and do his hit and run stuff in the gym, and apparently he survived it pretty well. Now, it's got to be long range or nothing now with Biggs. And a good left hook, he turned into an uppercut.
Tyson has dropped the pace. He just seems to be looking for one big left hook now. I think he feels that one clean shot will finish this job.
Now, is he going to try and do this as he did with David Bay, pull the fight right out of the fire, turn it around? I would have thought that was not possible to stop Tyson like that. Well, whatever big money in terms of millions of dollars that they're drawing for this fight, Jim, it's worth it where Biggs is concerned now. He really is in a rough ride, isn't he?
Yeah, and he really is putting up a show. Nothing is really going his way. I think the cut was just the final insult. See, Tyson hasn't thrown as many punches in this round. He seems to be setting himself for the big one, especially the left hook. That's given him a lot of success up until now. He looks as though he wants to finish it with one punch.
He walks straight in on a straight track there, doesn't he, Tyson? He really hounds his man all the time. Oh, there it is again. The right hand came with that as well. That was a two-punch combination for a change. And he really is a tremendously fast puncher, as we saw when he finished Pinkman Thomas. Coming out for the fifth, and they're doing a good job there in Biggs' corner, and they'll need to, because it's more than running repairs he needs at the moment. Where Tyson's got this what seems an obsessive commitment when he's got a man on the hook like this, and having been an expert that's watched all those old-time films, many hours. He really knows, learned a lot from those guys. He doesn't ever want to be compared with them, he says, until he's proved himself in a few years' time. Imagine how good he can be. They've staunched the eye reasonably well, Jim, haven't they? You've had that problem, obviously.
Yeah, they've done a good job, because that is a bad cut. Biggs looked heartbroken as he went back to his corner at the end of the 4th round. I thought maybe his heart was leaving the job, but he's come back again, and he's trying to get himself, getting punches off and trying to get himself back into it. But Tyson has lost his rhythm. He seems to be setting with a one punch. He's not using the same rhythm he was earlier on in the contest. I think even his corner were saying to him, don't throw one punch. Get them out 4s and 5s.
He's really trying to get every inch he can with that left-hand jab to keep him off. But that's the old pea shooter and the tank stuff, isn't it?
Biggs leaves his chin so unprotected at times. He still has some of these amateur habits. He's too tall to do that against an opponent, especially like Tyson. But he seems to be hanging his head up there far too often. He has a good chin already, been knocked out long ago.
He was knocked out by the Cuban Teofilio Stevenson back in '82. That's the only stoppage on his career, on his career record as amateur and pro. Tyson hasn't lost a decision since Henry Tillman in an Olympic box-off in '84. But 3 rounds, of course, is never enough for this little fella. Can you imagine calling him a little fella the way he fights? Yeah, it doesn't, Jim. That really is not going to last. That it's unzipped like a purse there, didn't it? As he threw that right hand.
I think there's blood coming from his mouth as well now, isn't it?
Yeah, I think this is going to be the last round. He's looking at the corner as well, as if to say, what do I do now? All the heart in the world, Tyrell Biggs, but as you say, from the Bay fight, he knows now that there's no way he can switch this round and stop this tank coming at him. Oh, referee getting himself tangled up there. And the crowd not liking that with Tyson. He once did that in the amateurs with an African who wouldn't fight him, so he got out the ring, Tyson, and got disqualified.
Let's go.
Well, he stalled a bit there. They didn't put any extra time on the round there. That surprised me. It took a long time sitting down there now, Jim. I would have thought that the doctor would be back up there again, and it really did look bad to us towards the end of that round.
This guy can't punch, can't do nothing out there. Tell him. Don't trust the guy. Now look. Are you all right?
Well, they got to pump him up with a lot of knowledge now. Jim, there's that wrestling sequence.
Yeah, I think the significant thing here is how disheartened Biggs looks. And we saw him just before this, looking over to his corner. He really looks disheartened now.
Well, they're managing to getting him off the stall again anyway. I was wrong about that. I already did think that was the end. Out for the 6th round. Tyrell Biggs now. Such a handicap, isn't it? Scheduled for 15, and as the great Joe Lewis said, you can run but you can't hide in the fight ring.
Biggs has never been subjected to this kind of pressure before either. You know, there's no way he can cope with it. I would have thought, actually, I would like to think if it had been me in there, my corner would have pulled me out.
Yeah, the right hands are getting really punishing as well. What an armory this fella's got. Jim, can we even imagine what he's going to look like in another 2 or 3 years if this keeps up?
I wonder if Tyson can improve much more than he has done. I don't know if he's really taken his ability as far as it can go. But I mean, it's certainly good enough. He doesn't really have to improve. He's far too hot for anything around at the moment. It's like a 20th century caveman the way he's going in there. But, you know, he's got
sort of a hidden skill in many ways, Jim, isn't he? He does some very smart things as well.
Well, you have to remember, he's in with an excellent boxer, Olympic standard, but he hasn't taken too many because he exerts so much pressure. The other fellow is always on the defensive, so that is part of his skill. But we don't see him taking too many clean punches himself.
All right, break. Let him go. Let him go. Let him go.
Oh, punch to the body there, and we're so close to the ring, Jim, right now that, well, I tell you, we gasped as that left hook to the body went in.
Break. Let go. Let go. Let go. Let go. Step back.
Well, the referee will remember this in his first heavyweight championship fight that he's officiated there. He's really having to work hard.
Break. No punches. Hold it. Let him go. Let him go, Tyrell. Let him go. Let him go. Let him go.
It looks like Tyson wants to hang on to him as well.
Break. No punches. Let him out. Let him out, Tyrell. Let him go. Come on, Tyrell. Let him go and take a point away now. Get back.
I don't think Biggs has anything else to offer. I think if he survives this round, his corner should pull him out of there.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to. I said that in the fifth, mind you, because of the cut eye. Well, surprisingly enough, it stood up to it a bit here, the eye. They've worked hard on it, but the coagulates have hardened a lot. So it won't be for that reason, Jim.
No, I mean, if Biggs was in the fight here, if he had a hope of winning, then leave him in there. But there's absolutely no chance. We're only finding out how much courage he has, how long he can survive. His corner must pull him out of there.
Well, I know trainer George Benton's a compassionate sort of a guy, and he's done this all himself. I would have thought he'd be one of the first to offer him to get out of there. So the doctor's over there now, having a look at Biggs again. And we really don't need any distractions at this stage of the fight. Conversations inevitably with doctor and referee, who are talking to Larry Hazard, the chairman of the New Jersey Commission.
Get to the side. Play with this guy now. You understand me? This guy's got nothing. Give him the feint. Like you did before. Give him the feint. Give him a feint. Step to the side.
You're taking the best he's got. So what the hell's wrong with you? Fire back.
Well, from that lip reading, Jim, I would have thought that the doctor's saying you better watch it in this round to the referee, don't you?
You got no legs. Fight it inside.
I don't even think it should be up to the doctor. I think Biggs' corner should be saying, you've done as good as you can do, Tyrell. Let's just get you out of there.
Round 7. Yeah, I agree with you. The lad's really put up a really good show. I say the lad, he's 26, he's 5 years older than Tyson.
I don't think we're in any doubt who the better man is, and if that's what sport's supposed to be about, then we've found out what we wanted to find out. Tyson is just far too hot for him.
The thing with Tyson, he holds that good position, and then he's so fast with some of the punches that, well, it catches the people by surprise, including the intended target.
Let him go. Come on. Let him go. Come on. Pull out. Pull out.
See, this is where we should expect a little bit more technique from Tyson. He's demoralised a man, he's slowed the pace down to his liking, but he's just gone in doing the same things all the time. He should be showing a little feint and try to draw a lead from Biggs and come back with solid counters, but he's just doing the same things. Eventually, okay, it's going to pay off for him, but this is where he needs a little bit more technique.
Yes, he tends to be a little bit repetitive there. And as I say, although he's very much an apprentice champion, he is the undisputed champion of the world. He has to be judged at that level.
Hold it. Let him out. Let him out. Let him out. Good. Okay. All right, break. Let's step back. Step back. Let him go, Tyrell. Let's go. Let him go. Come on.
Again, Jim, that cut eye is really not leaking as much. It's amazing, really.
They've done a very good job on the eye, because straight from the start of the injury, it was a bad one. I mean, Tyson should have a little bit more imagination now. I mean, we can see that Biggs is very tired. He isn't really coming back with any punches that should worry Tyson. So Tyson should be able to open up an opponent better than he's doing.
Step back, Mike. Throw him in the back of the head.
Close in like that with Tyson. When an opponent pulls on and he throws a punch, it catches him with a forearm occasionally. That must hurt. Oh, what a jab, that one. That's the way to break up the opposition's concentration, and he did it there. And as he hit him with that punch, I think his eyes went into separate orbits there. Right in his own corner. Is he going to make an effort to get up?
How do you feel, Phil? Okay?
He's got to 8, and he's allowing it to go on, the referee. How long? He won't let him off the hook now, so come on, referee, you can dive in when you like now. And he's waved it all over, that's it. Glad to see that in the 7th. Tyrell Biggs was as brave as you could ever expect a challenger to be, but he was totally outpunched, and let's face it, from a fighting point of view, he was outclassed as well at the finish. Jim?
Well, as soon as Tyson gets his chance, it's all over. He never lets anybody off the hook. I would like to have seen Biggs being pulled out of there. He'd done his best. There's no way he could ever win this contest, but his corner kept sending him up. But once more, a tremendous performance from Tyson, especially when he got his man on the hook. He didn't waste any punches. Every punch he threw was a jawbreaker, and there we have Tyrell Biggs. Hopefully, he's sitting up now, so hopefully everything is all right.
Just 5 seconds to go there to the end of that round, actually. Not that it made any difference. Just have a look, just a look at that replay of the finish now. When he caught him, there it is, the left hook yet again. Totally unbalanced. Lucky not to go right out of the ring now. That's where Muhammad Ali was sitting right behind him. Jim, have a second look from a different angle.
He opened him up with the jab, then come up with the left hook he's been looking for all the way through the contest, and a cracking punch. Biggs did very well. I think he was wondering himself if he should stand up or not, but he did the brave thing and stood up. But the finishing punch was a cracker.
See there, when he flopped, his head went there, flopped like Wurzel Gummidge on those ropes. See, we're seeing it from all angles, and when Tyrell Biggs sees this in the replay, I think he'll say, is that really what happened to me? And that was